So I guess we'll wait till folks start coming in. Just to give you a heads up. So it's kind of amazing the way that things came together the last few times. But you know, our members, like I'm kind of like on it usually, but our members are often like, well, they're often space somewhere. So like finding people, you know, like it's not always easy to like nail down a time. It's like when everyone's ready. So I like when folks are ready. Folks can make a plan. But what you saw the last couple of times wasn't how it always goes. So when you ask that question, you know, where is Ish, or you know, have you watched them? I just kind of laughed because
It's hard to,
yeah, it can be hard to nail down sometimes. And Joey as well.
yeah. They're busy folks. I understand.
Yep, yep. And it's you know, there's a kind of a spontaneity to it, which can make it hard to nail down guests sometimes. So I appreciate that you were like, let's
No
just
worries,
start.
man.
Yeah, let's just start it, get it going, and folks join, they join. And
Yeah, I agree. You know, and if I'm hard to reach at any point, go ahead and start, and I'll join up when I can.
yeah, exactly. And I reached out to a lot of folks, so I think law of averages, we may have guests start rolling in. Kind of
Oh,
like
good.
like it's a party or something.
Yeah. It's Flav's flavor joint, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I like that word. So yeah,
So
man.
I have to tell you though, I was going to discuss this with Ish on the show and
Yeah.
some of your other friends, but I really don't like hip hop these days. I was going to.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because I can't find good artists like I used to in the 90s and the 2000 era.
Is there anyone at all that is
That's
satisfying
new.
you?
I can't. I know there's probably independent artists
Right.
and guys trying to make it. But
Yeah.
let me describe what I think is great hip hop. All
Okay.
right, I guess first I started out with Fear of a Black Planet.
Okay.
So that's first. That's my lineage. But then I moved into the kind of sound that Tribe and Jungle Brothers and
Okay.
De La Soul had, and I
Sure.
loved it. I still to this day think that De La Soul and Tribe are basically the Beatles of rap.
What's your favorite Tribe album?
Midnight Marauders. It's not unusual, right? Because they're
Midnight
very
Marauders is dope. Midnight Marauders
yeah,
is dope.
it's great. Now I also like Paul's Boutique from Beastie Boys.
Yeah. Okay. Now
That's the last time they were.
Was Paul's Boutique the one that was more rock influenced or no?
No, it was actually more hip hop because
Oh, okay,
they was the last one they were able to sample.
Before the sampling laws changed dramatically.
Yes, and it was
so that
awesome.
album has a ton of samples, right?
Oh my God, it's awesome. Yes.
I'm gonna go back and listen to it because, you know, my listening of the Beastie Boys was more like on the radio.
Yeah,
so back in that time, I wasn't really delving through the actual albums.
They have a great. I've seen them twice in concert, and they put on an awesome concert. By the way.
Yeah, I love the Beastie Boys and their videos too.
Oh, the videos are fun.
Intergalactic and
I was so upset when the poor guy died. I forget his name now, unfortunately, because my brain is racked.
There's Adam. There's
Adam, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Adam
Yeah.
Lay.
Yeah, man. The Beastie Boys, Run DMC used to write for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And they're real stuff. They moved to the hood and everything. 3 Jewish guys moved to the middle of the. Yeah, they were a rock group, like they were a pure punk rock group.
Yep.
With like Egg Raid on Mojo kind of times.
Uh-huh.
And then they decided to learn what hip hop was about, so they moved to either the Bronx or
Brooklyn, maybe,
or Harlem.
Oh, not Brooklyn.
I don't think Brooklyn.
Okay.
I think they moved to Brooklyn.
That guess was just based on the song.
No. They moved to Brooklyn at some point, like everybody in New York moves around, right?
right.
So it's just a mobile culture. So and don't get me wrong, I love Brooklyn. Brooklyn is my home in New York. I just think it has the most flavor out of every borough.
I love Brooklyn. Yep.
Or should I say Crooklyn?
Yeah, exactly.
Spike
Yeah.
Lee's old joint for it.
Yeah. Then there was the then there was the song with some Brooklyn cats. Crooklyn. I don't know if it was
Oh
was it
yeah, yeah,
Crooklyn
yeah.
Dodgers or
Crooklyn Dodgers. With
was Master
God,
Ace in that one?
I think so. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Coming straight out of Brooklyn.
yeah. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
sing because I want us to have some listeners
Some
before the
viewers,
end.
yeah. So yeah, the era that you're talking about now, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial. I
Okay.
never really got into De La.
Ooh.
My friends all loved De La. To me, how do I put this? I appreciated that they were a departure from what was considered traditional hip hop, and they were considered kind of like the hippies of hip hop. I
Right.
appreciated that, but I never really got into their sound. Though there is like at least an album or two of theirs that I definitely liked, and certainly liked more. Their style was a little looser for me. It
Now,
wasn't
do you like Common?
Common's dope. Yeah,
Yeah,
Common.
Common is badass.
See, I think Common actually got better and tighter over time.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
Um,
definitely honed his craft for sure.
and what was the like Water for Chocolate? I think was that the
Yes,
name of that album? That
yes.
album was dope. I had that one, and then B was it called B? Was that the
I
Kanye one?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
one word title. It was something like B or something like that, and then it had one word songs like Go and things like that. That album was like his best album. I feel like he
There is a new guy that I like, or at least newer for me, because I'm getting old now, and my beard is white, and
uh-huh.
my mom called me Gandalf the other day. It was
Can
pretty
I
terrible.
guess? Can I guess who you're gonna say?
Who?
Is it Kendrick or J. Cole?
No, it's MF Doom.
Oh, he's not new at all.
No, I know, but he's new for me. Like
Oh, okay.
I discovered him probably like 2 years ago, and I loved him.
MF Doom, I think, is actually out of England, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, wears the mask, right? MF
Yeah.
Doom is very interesting to me because I liked him, but I started liking him more when I checked out like some kind of critical breakdown of his, and it was
Yeah.
showing me the way that he puts his words together and some of the internalized rhymes and like everything, and it's like it just made me respect
Yeah.
him even more because I realized there was a lot of stuff he was doing that I was missing because his style is a little bit laid back, you
Yeah.
know. So it wasn't catching my ear like that. And then when I read this breakdown, I was like, oh wow, he's doing so many things. Like
Complex.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, complex, multi-syllabic. He's like
Multilingual meaning wordplay.
yeah, the wordplay and the multi-syllabic play is really big with him, but he's definitely dope.
But if you
Um,
guys have anything for me to listen to, I definitely will listen to it. I'm
okay,
not a music snob. I'm not a
I'll
music
let you
snob
listen
at
to my
all.
stuff as well. I do music as
Oh, do
well.
you?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I was doing more back in the day, but I'll put you on my SoundCloud
Oh,
and
absolutely.
let
Yeah,
you
yeah,
check
yeah.
it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the problem is with me is like I love music, but I tend to go back to the old stuff that I loved
it's
when I was
hard
younger.
not to. You know what you're gonna get,
Yeah,
and sometimes the old stuff is so great you can still get new stuff from it. You can still pick up new stuff from it. But what
absolutely.
do you are you a fan of Kendrick and J. Cole?
Not particularly, but I will listen to them.
Okay. See, they're not even new anymore. But when
Right.
you said someone who's not really new but kind of new for me, I thought you meant maybe Kendrick or J. Cole. They're
I've
kind
heard
of
they're
like
great. I've heard
yeah,
they're
yeah.
great,
Yeah,
but
Kendrick's good.
I have not given them a shot, to be honest with you.
Kendrick is like yeah, like a real artist of our time. He's not only like lyrically
Tight.
dense. Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
only lyrically tight, but he does a lot of things with his voice. Does a lot of things with concepts, and
Cool. Cool.
yeah, he's just like a real artist. And then J. Cole is like very lyrical, and
I think I would like these bows.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Some J. Cole was singing a little bit for me, a little bit too much, but I think that was for some of more radio friendly stuff so he could get off his
You know
other
the
stuff.
girls love it. You know the girls love it.
Yeah, yeah. It's you got to do what you got to do. I mean, to be honest, even one of my favorites, Tupac, used to have radio friendly songs that
Yeah.
I don't really care for as much.
Right.
You know,
Because they're
but
not what the core of Tupac was.
yeah. And if I'm listening to the radio, I'm listening to the whack radio, it's probably okay because it's exciting enough because it's Tupac. But if I'm listening to XM radio or if I'm just at home or something, I'll always skip over the how do you want it and the more, radio
Yeah.
friendly. Even
The
like
stuff he did
California
with others
Love,
too. Yeah.
like California Love, I don't need that. I don't need that.
Yeah.
That's
Why would it matter to you? You're a New Yorker.
I mean, no, I mean, well, listen, To Live and Die in LA, that is a great song.
Yeah. It's
But
true.
that's like a cut. That's like a
Yeah.
dope song. California Love is just for the take it or leave it fans who don't really, who
They're
don't
just
really.
listening to listen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Gotcha.
And interestingly enough, Biggie never had those tracks for me. I never heard a Biggie track I didn't like.
Biggie knew the pulse of people and
Yeah.
knew how to put together music, and he also had P Diddy helping him with
Oh,
the
yeah.
beats and things like that. And
Yeah,
and
P. Diddy's-
I will never say P Diddy is not a good not a good producer. He is an excellent producer.
Yeah. People used to give him crap for not actually touching the boards himself.
Right.
But he is a producer in that real sense of the words of like I'm producing this song. I'm
Like Rick
deciding
Rubin was the same way. He never really touched the boards that much.
right.
But a genius,
But
like
he
an
crafted
unsung
it.
genius.
Yeah, he crafted it, decided, the direction, decided what to sample, how to sample
In fact,
it.
my favorite Rick Rubin's joint was when he worked with older Johnny Cash on
Oh,
his
okay.
last two albums.
Okay.
Amazing stuff, real powerful.
You know what's interesting is he did incredible stuff with Jay-Z, like 99 Problems and stuff like that. But some of the stuff that he did with Eminem, I didn't like as much. But Eminem had an album, it was a little bit later on, and it might have been like Marshall Mathers 2 or something.
Right.
Whatever it was, it didn't come out as great.
Now Eminem is a strange cat to me because I never thought I would like him because I don't know, I don't but the honesty in which he raps about his family problems and stuff I find very rare and refreshing as well.
I'll tell you, I put him in a category with only a few people, and I definitely learned from Eminem how to hone personal stories and put my personal emotion into songs that took them to a different level. There are a few people that do it on that level. Ghostface Killer.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
As explained in All That I Got Is.
I missed the Wu-Tang.
They're still out. They're still out there. They're still doing.
They're still out there. I know a guy. Okay, there was a guy. He was a night manager of one of our hotels here, and his cousin is one of their guys, one of their sound guys.
Oh, okay.
And so he tours around, and because I saw him with the Wu-Tang shirt, I said, "Hey, you like Wu-Tang?" And he's like, "Yeah, I love Wu-Tang. My cousin is produces, or I forgot what he said, something to do with producing their sound."
Like a sound engineer or something.
Like a sound engineer or something like that. And I said, my God, that's an awesome job. Hang out with Wu-Tang all day? That's the best.
Yeah. I'm sure he had to be tight in his work. There were
he had to.
always
they're demanding. They're demanding.
That's what I'm saying. There were always stories of like if you weren't in tune with what was going on, like you remember like how you asked me like, thanks for asking, can I record?
Yeah.
Imagine being in a studio with Wu-Tang and some like ill freestyle gets going and they do something really incredible and you're sitting there like a bonehead and you're like, oh, no one told me to record.
Yeah.
Like things.
I think they would kill you. They would kill you.
Yeah, you'd get hurt enough to like either decide this isn't for you or you're going to be on point.
Absolutely.
After that. I mean, they've, I'm sure they've calmed down a lot now, but
sure, old age mellows everybody.
Yeah, old age and kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Well, kids will take it out of you.
yeah, but before there was internet and stuff, you could only assume it through like the music and the attitude and maybe
Right.
occasional stuff in magazines. But then years later, all this information would come out affirming what you thought, and you were like, "Oh yeah, they were banned from several radio stations, and
Oh yeah, I heard those stories.
they were feared, and this and that."
That was like Gangstar. Gangstar, very talented group. Don't fuck with them.
Well, Gangstar is only two people though.
Yeah, well, they were both. I don't want to say dangerous, but they were both people that you shouldn't fuck with.
Okay, so you're talking DJ Premier and
Yes.
Guru?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I could definitely imagine it with DJ Premier, even though I never heard any stories. I know he's a big guy, and I know he's just very comfortable around everyone. So I think there's someone who moves that way.
And Guru was a genius, too. Guru was an unsung genius.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely had the voice. He had that song about how the voice was a big part of hip-hop that people didn't think about. But, like, without the voice, it doesn't catch your ear as much. You got like Snoop with one of the greatest voices. But you're saying Guru was a tough guy too, is what you're saying?
Guru was a tough boy. You don't fuck with Guru. Apparently, I heard so many stories about Guru going into a studio that they had just finished talking crap about him on the radio and just wrecking whoever was behind the mic.
That's very interesting. See, this stuff is in the pre-internet era. Like, I never heard that stuff. I never heard that stuff.
It's hard. But I was part of a college radio station, so I was able to keep up with some interesting news.
See, this is why, like, the DJ Vlads and the people who get interesting stories from artists are giving up valuable information, because that thing that you said, someone like me, I should know that by now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a real hip-hop head, and I've like I've decimated every piece of hip hop more so I could get my hands on. And to this day, I didn't know.
So who's some of your favorites?
I mean, Wu-Tang. I'm huge on Wu-Tang.
Okay, sounds good.
U-God actually came out with 2 albums that are better than most Wu-Tang albums.
Oh wow!
Little known to most folks, because most folks crap on U-God as who they think is like the least good member. But he's got.
I don't play that game. Because when a group is doing well, it's because all the members are good.
Right. Well, he's got an album called Venom, which is his most recent one, which is probably a few years old. It's an incredible album. And then he's got another one. I always mistake it, and I always want to say Headphone Masterpiece, but that's Cody Chestnut. This one, let's see, this album by U-God is a great one. It's got some of the guys from the Locks. I think it's got Jadakiss on it.
Oh, and I love Hieroglyphics. I forgot to say that.
Oh yeah, Hieroglyphics. Yep, they're West Coast, right?
They're West Coast. They're West Coast kind of. They're with Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Yeah, there's a whole movement that they came out of some kind of what was it? It was like a cafe.
Yeah,
it was like exactly. A freestyle fellowship kind of cafe kind of thing that all the quote unquote like alternative kind of like different hip hop that wasn't necessarily gangster came out of.
Right.
And it brought out some really diverse.
That's the kind of sound I like, to be honest with you, because I like alt rock too a lot, and. So I listen for things that are trying to push the edge a little bit. Not a lot. I'm not a wild guy anymore. Sure. But I like stuff that challenges me. Yeah.
So Keynote Speaker is the name of this U-God album. I promise you, you listen to Keynote Speaker and Venom, you'll get the best U-God stuff that you've ever heard. And if anyone tries to talk shit about U-God, just put those albums on and they'll shut up immediately.
Gotcha.
They're incredible. They're incredible albums. So what you get on Keynote Speaker is you hear U-God beatboxing for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And he's talked about this once or twice before and said, I never really got into the beatboxing thing because a couple of the guys, Rozelle and someone else from the Roots were into it. That was their thing, and I'm like,
Oh,
damn
I
man,
love
like
the Roots.
there's more room for more than one or two people beatboxing. You should
Absolutely.
have showcased that skill. So not only that, but dig this. You got also sings a little bit. And I'm not
Oh,
talking
nice.
about like some corny, singing that like I complain about that kind of like ruins some hip hop, but he's got a deep rap voice. Well, he sings like very deeply, like on some very white type stuff. But
Oh,
it's but
nice.
it goes with the music, and it's not corny, and it's just enough to be like tasteful, and it's dope. So you're gonna hear what you got actually has to offer when he's like produced well, and he's got a track with it's either Jadakiss or Styles that's really dope. But anyway, so Wu Tang is my favorite. Ghostface is probably my
The
favorite
favorite
out
of
of Wu
them.
Tang.
Yeah.
Master Killer finally started putting out some albums. He's dope. I love him. Obviously Meth, but Meth was interesting because he never lived up to his potential on solo albums after the
I
first
agree.
one.
I agree.
After the
It's like
first
it's
one
like
and the
Q-Tip.
second.
It's like Q-Tip. He came
Oh
out of
yeah,
Tribe, and you're like, what
yeah.
is
What was
this?
he?
What is this
Yeah,
dance thing?
yeah. It's kind of what like Gwen Stefani did when she came out of
Yes,
No
absolutely.
Doubt. It was like a very
I
similar
think it
thing.
was those industry people talking too much to them, influencing what they do.
Well, it's very possible, or it's possible that that's who they were the whole time, and their group was just making them better. Like for
That's true.
instance, another group that I love, love, love is Capone and Noriega.
Oh, they're excellent. Yeah.
They're like a staple in hip hop, right? They're quintessential New York '90s grimy hip hop, but Noriega was always way better with Capone and Noriega. When he went out and did his solo albums, it was never as good. It just wasn't. There was something about them together that elevated Nori's game. And when he went out
Oh,
on
well, you know
himself,
who we've forgotten to mention, Flav? EPMD
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. EPMD was dope. They had
with the
some
Green
interesting
Eye
stories.
Bandit.
Yeah, they had some interesting stories, and of course, they brought out one of my favorite, Redman.
Redman, yeah,
Redman was one of
Redman,
the most
and then
consistent.
Method Man and Redman apparently were like two peas in a pod. They
Yeah,
loved each other, and they performed well together.
yep, and they did that music together. I always thought Redman outshined Method Man when they did their music together. Maybe for a few reasons. I think on the playful tip, it's more in Redman's wheelhouse,
Yeah,
whereas Method Man I like when he goes darker with
yeah,
the
yeah.
material, and then also something that I thought that was backed up by something RZA said is other people didn't really know how to EQ Method Man's voice as well. So when
Right,
RZA is dealing with his voice, you're catching like the full sound of his voice, and
that's true.
yeah, something was different when he was rapping with Redman. Who else? Oh, Snoop is to me. Snoop is sometimes in my top five. I think he's as big as he is. He's still underrated.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Most
And
people
he's
like,
he's a wonderful humanitarian too, which I
yeah,
always like to point out that
yeah,
when guys make it big, they can give back or they can just take more and more. And
yeah.
he was a guy that gave back.
Yeah, yes, no, Snoop's wonderful. A lot of people don't know how many albums he's come out with over the years, like great albums. Like there's one album that I always have people listen to that they always love. A lot of people haven't heard an album called Bush, which came out maybe a handful of years ago, maybe like
Mm.
2015. It's an incredible album. It's about 40, 45 minutes, super tight. It's got Stevie Wonder on like the
Oh wow.
opening track.
Oh
It's a
wow.
visual album, so every track has a futuristic video to it. You should definitely play it in the order that it's meant to be listened to, because it's
Gotcha.
like kind of a journey. And if you play it that way, every song is better than the last.
I love
And
concept albums, so yeah, I dig it. I dig
it's
it in
Pharrell.
rock, and why wouldn't I dig it in? Oh, it's Pharrell. Oh,
It's Pharrell,
oh,
and
get out of here.
it's dope. It's a dope album. Now, speaking of singing, Snoop sings on it, but it's very
Ooh,
tasteful, and it's this very funky, like futuristic, funky, grooving.
like
Pharrell.
George Clinton and the P Funk band.
Yeah, except tighter than them,
Yeah,
right?
I could agree.
Because they jam a lot, and this is tight. This is
Nice,
tight.
nice.
But yeah, really dope album. So for
What
people who
about
are like,
Eric B? And Rakim?
oh yeah, no, they're like
We forgot to
they're like
mention
the
them.
foundation. They're the foundation of everything else that came after. So all of the Snoops, all of the
Yeah,
Nas's, all of the
Nas
Jay
is wonderful too.
Z's.
I'm surprised we haven't mentioned him yet, but he deserves mention.
Well, Nas is consistently one of my favorite rappers. Nas is
Lyricist, par none.
yeah, exactly. The thing about Nas is he's got dope lyrics, but he doesn't get lost in them. Like
Yeah,
he's not like a backpack lyricist. It's just like dope lyrics, dope songs. Some people go overboard criticizing his choice in beats. I mean, I certainly think that with his body of work, some of the beats he chose could have been better, but I'm not like on the bandwagon saying that he has horrible beats
yeah.
or horrible,
Always when you conflict the artist's original views, you're not in their shoes. So it's hard to be that critical of an artist you like, because unfortunately you're not in their shoes. You don't know what was going on in their lives at the moment.
Well, to me, I don't get that deep with it. I mean,
Okay.
I think you can criticize what you can criticize, and whatever they're going through is on them. Strictly from a musical standpoint, I mean, I certainly like for instance, when he had his little thing with Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z got to a point where he was making very tight albums, and Nas had albums. Some of them had a little fluff on them. Some
Yeah,
of them had some songs
I
that
agree.
just like the beats were cool, but they weren't as tight as they could have been for like the best, uh, MC on the planet. But he's got his method. He says he doesn't like the beat to compete with what he's saying. I guess he doesn't want people to get lost in the beat.
That's a Kanye comment almost.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't want people to get so caught up in the beat that they're not listening to what he's saying. So that is
Yeah.
interesting. Is one of the best lyricists. That's
Now, one of the guys that I like I think is completely underrated because he's so political is Immortal Technique.
Immortal Technique. I've definitely liked some of his stuff. Some of his stuff is a little too backpacky for me, but some of it I like a lot. But with him, even when he's not rapping, I love hearing him speak on
So
political
smart.
stuff.
So
Yeah,
smart.
I love his social
On top of it.
commentary and stuff like that. There's another Wu-Tang affiliate, Killer Priest, who's
Okay.
Killer Priest came out of a group called Sons of Man, which was
I heard of them.
yeah, they were one of the offshoots. Killer Priest himself blows Sons of Man out of the water. That's one of the
Gotcha.
cases where the solo artist is better than the group. It's by far. He's better than the group by far. He's got very dope concepts. He's like very much into studying like of religions and consciousness, and all of this stuff pours like right out of the speaker on his albums.
Oh,
So
awesome. I
he's
got to
got,
check this
like,
guy out.
Yeah, I think the first one's called Heavy Mental. That one's incredible. And you can just keep going from there. If you go in order from when the albums came out, you can just keep going. You'll probably only find maybe one or two albums that's not great. And most of this stuff is incredible. If you're into it once you listen to it. But yeah, Snoop to me is incredible. He's got the voice and the flow.
Now I have to ask, Flav, who do you like in, like, say, rock or R&B or anything else? What is your range?
Let's see. Well, Smokey Robinson in soul music.
Gorgeous voice. Gorgeous voice.
Is a top. So like, I got into Sam Cooke, which was great, but Smokey to me was more complex.
I agree with that. And what he did was amazing with what was it? The Condors? No, I'm sorry.
The Spinner? No, not the Spinners.
No, I'm trying to remember the group that he started with.
Right.
When he was much younger,
The Miracles.
but his solo work is The Miracles. There we go.
Yeah.
The Miracles. And his work with them was amazing, and then his work outside of them was stunning. Absolutely stunning.
And if you listen to his stuff, it's like, wow, this stuff was almost made to be sampled by hip hop later on.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like they had spaces in the music where it made it very possible to sample, and like you're like, wow, you can almost see how this kind of music inspired people to sample later on. Of course, Michael Jackson is one of the dopest. You know, Prince. As far as rock goes,
I met Prince once. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
I was working in this high class hotel, right?
Okay.
And I get this call from what I think is a young man, right? And he says, "Oh, my cable is out," and because I'm not the engineer, but unfortunately it was 2 a.m. and everybody was gone except for me.
Okay.
So I go up to the penthouse, which is where the thing is. Penthouse is expensive in Biltmore. Biltmore, Coral Gables. It's an expensive place.
Okay.
So I go up there and I look, and it's this little man, and I recognize him. He's tiny, by the way. He's like,
I've heard,
like nothing.
Like 4'11" or something.
Oh, he's 5'2", if that. If that. Yeah. But he's well put together, and he's wearing a robe, and he's like, my cable box went out today. And I went, really? Don't you have girls or something like that? And I said it just plainly to him, and he laughed. He goes, not tonight.
Wow. Good guy, though. Nice guy.
Nice guy. Super nice guy. Gave me a tip and everything.
Yeah, that guy's got so much talent in one finger. What did he teach himself to play like 20 instruments?
Yes. Yeah, I saw him. The reason I got convinced that he was the real deal music deal was because I saw him playing in a straight blues festival. Imagine like a bunch of bluesy older gentlemen, and then Prince in his wild outfits and his wild guitar, but him starring in the guitar role. Unbelievable guitarist.
Well, the old rumor about what Eric Clapton said about Prince, right?
No, I hadn't heard. Eric Clapton is kind of a jerk.
I've heard. So someone said something to Eric Clapton, like, what does it feel like to be, the best guitar player on the planet? And he said something like, I don't know, ask Prince. Or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was debunked as a rumor, but if you've seen Prince play, it always blows people away. Yeah.
There's no doubt. Doubt. That guy was so talented, and he was born to be a star. Some people, I say, are not ready for stardom. I think Prince, without stardom, would have just been an eccentric dude that would have been playing just in churches and music halls and things.
Sure. So rock-wise, I mean, let's see. There's the who are the guys that do Dire Maker? Probably like Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin.
I forgot them for a moment.
Yeah, who else? Rock-wise, I mean, there's a lot of classic rock that I like. I also got into psychedelic.
I love Steve Miller Band. I think that they're outstanding.
Oh, okay. I haven't gotten into them a ton. And then some of the newer, well, not newer now, not newer at all, but
more recent.
Well, more recent than them, actually more like starting in the 80s is
Radiohead, maybe?
No, they did Caribou.
Caribou. I know Caribou, the rapper.
No.
He's fun but fluffy.
Oh yeah, I don't know anything about him.
Caribou did a song that basically made his career, and I forgot what it's called now. It's been so long since I've heard it.
Oh, the Pixies.
Oh yeah, with Frank Black. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, they're one of my favorites.
They're awesome for sure.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
They're definitely alternative nation type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there's pretty much everything they come out with Then there is, let's see, the group that put out Dots and Loops. Stereo Lab.
Stereo Lab is awesome.
Yeah, Stereo Lab.
I think they're a French group, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely the lead. At least a couple of them were, if not all of them. One of them died.
Right.
Yeah, but everything they put out was dope. Let's see who else. And then I like the Smiths a lot.
I do too, but Morrissey's a giant asshole. Asshole.
Yep, I know that about him too. He's got some great solo stuff. The solo album he did, "You Are the Query," is an incredible album.
I like David Byrne too. From I think I've always thought that he's cutting edge. Like there's very
Philly,
few.
Right?
What?
He's from Philly, I think.
No, he's from New York, I believe.
Oh, that's what I thought. That's very interesting because there was a Facebook post, some joke about Manhattan hair, and I put David Byrne, and someone said that's more like Philly hair. So that's very interesting.
Maybe he is, but I know he lives in at least I know. Well, let's be honest. He's big enough to have houses wherever he wants.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this says he's an American British singer.
Yeah, I know he's part British, so I know he maybe grew up in Britain, but I thought he lived in New York. If I was right, if I was correct.
Yeah, he probably does. I don't know where the Philly thing came from, to be honest.
Although Philly's a dope city, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just in Philly last year for some campaigns.
I mostly stick out to the west now, but I used to be in South Florida and northern middle Florida. Up above that is like the 1960s, racist as shit. So in Florida,
What part?
Northern Florida, like the Jacksonville, kind of backwater Florida.
I see. I've spent some time in Tampa.
Tampa's nice.
Yeah, I've had some good times in Tampa. My cousin lives in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh yeah, even better. Yeah.
Yep.
So what happened to our group, man?
Ish said he'd be on a little later, which again I don't know what that means.
Yeah, true.
Joey said, "Oh shit!" He said, "Let me know when showtime is." Fuck. Wait, no, I sent him the link.
Yeah. Just remind him. I actually think I want to come visit New York and stay with Joey a little bit.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he's
maybe if I can crash on
now.
Yeah, I know he's in upstate New York, but I know he's trying to move to either where did he tell me? New Paltz or
New Paltz is dope.
Yeah, or in New York again.
Okay, yeah. He's mentioning that. Yep. Yeah, so I was in San Diego just like a year or two ago. That was a good time.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous city.
Yep. The Ubers were pretty cheap out there for some reason.
Yeah, because the competition is high.
Oh, okay.
It's just basic economics. More competition, we win.
You would think with the competition we have in New York. Oh, but we also have subways.
You have subways too. And you have very organized cab systems that will not let go of the routes.
Okay, that makes sense. So
they're for maximizing profits. Trust me.
Man, it was so cheap in San Diego. I was like,
yeah,
am I miscalculating? Like, what's going on?
But the rentals are not cheap. They're just as bad as New York.
Renting a car, you mean?
No, renting a space to live.
Oh no, forget about it. I mean, that's
California.
California's notorious. It's.
I lived in a ghetto. I lived in a ghetto, a Spanish ghetto in LA, and I was still paying like $2,900 a month.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, it was a safe area in the ghetto, and people were scared of me anyway because I kind of looked like a cop, and I spoke perfect Spanish, and I had white skin. So they had
Oh,
no idea what to make of me. None.
man, I can't even imagine. 2,900, was that more than one bedroom?
That was 2 bedrooms. I split it with
Jeez.
my roommate.
Jeez.
But it was a
Yeah.
nice place. It was a nice place. I have to say, even though it was in a bad neighborhood, and we were told constantly, "Don't live there." But I lived there for 9 months, and I had no problems.
Yeah.
I
Well, who were
walked
the
everywhere
people?
too.
Who were the people telling you that it was a bad neighborhood?
The other LA snobs, I suppose.
Yeah.
I found a lot of LA snobs. That's what I didn't like about LA.
Yep. I had a good time in I finally checked out LA a few years ago and then went back. I had a better time the first time because my friend was less busy. The second time she had more gigs and shows, so I was kind of on my own. But the first time I got to meet some very cool people,
Cool.
including a guy called The Scientist, who was
Okay.
basically like the father of dub reggae music.
Oh, cool,
And
cool.
he had worked on recently on albums. He had worked on a Karen O album, I think.
Yes, I love Karen O.
Recently, either Karen O or the group. What's the group she was with?
Oh,
Not not the Animals.
no, no. Oh, what's the name of her group now? I'm gonna. It's gonna bother me.
But he
This
had.
this is what happens when you get old. Don't get
Yeah,
old,
I've
Flav.
unfortunately been doing this for a while, forgetting what I'm talking about. Oh, the Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love those groups.
Yeah,
That group.
yeah, that's Karen O. So yeah, he was recently working on a Karen O album and some other albums. But the thing that got me right was like, so this is like reggae, like dub
Distilled.
music, the
Yeah.
really cool, like chill, lots of echoes, lots of sound effects. So we're in the studio, we're smoking a blunt with this guy or whatever, and he's kind of talking shit about people, not giving him, not like people like trying to like either rip him off or this and that, not give him his props.
Right.
He's working on a song in front of us, and my friend Lucy, who's the one who brought us there, who's a singer, songwriter, white, young white woman, keeps asking him what program he's using to create these effects that we're hearing, and she's like, "Oh, is that so and so? Is that naming some programs?" And he's like, "No, this is me." And it's like, it's hard for her to understand that this guy is doing it in front of us on the boards because she's so used to this being done with programs. But this
Yes.
guy literally precedes these programs.
Right.
It would be like seeing
Jimi Hendrix
exactly.
playing.
That's exactly
Playing
what I was gonna say. Yeah.
a kind of one of the modern guitars or something like that.
Exactly. Seeing Jimi Hendrix do all types of delays and asking him what kind of pedal he was using. Right?
Exactly.
Like he's doing this in front of us. So that was incredible. And then then we got to hang out with this guy named Dave something, who is Dave Aaron, his name is. And he was an engineer all over like Snoop and the Dog Pounds albums and like all those guys. So we got to smoke a blunt with him. Yeah. So that was cool. But that was LA. And coming out of New York, everything's vast and spacious, and I'm like, this is what it feels like to have space again.
Yeah.
Things so cramped in New York.
New York is a fight for space, always.
Yeah. Yep, I'm fighting for it as we speak. But,
so I also play video games. I don't know if I've told you that,
okay,
Flav. And so I'm a huge addict of gaming right now.
Okay.
Part of my other podcast, we talk about new games and stuff like that, and we kind of break it down, like which ones are interesting, which ones you should check out, that sort of thing.
And any new Mortal Kombat games come out recently?
There is a new Mortal Kombat game. I have to look it up. I think it's called 11 or something like that.
Okay. How new is new?
It's not on my wheelhouse because fighting games and my hands don't get along anymore.
Oh, okay.
because my hands are like I play a lot of like strategy role playing games,
Okay.
which are more story based
Yeah.
things and less speed on the hands
Oh, okay.
because my hands unfortunately I suffer from um, um, nerve damage
Oh,
and
okay.
from diabetes, long term diabetes.
Okay.
So I can't play some of the faster shooters and stuff like that. Like
I see.
everybody in my group loves Halo, and
Okay.
they're looking forward to the new big Halo game. And I'm
Okay.
like, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not going to be that good, guys. I promise.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
But I've been playing video games pretty much since I was a kid on
Okay.
my Nintendo, on my 8-bit Nintendo.
Yeah, I remember when I got my Nintendo, how exciting that was playing Mario Duck Hunt for the first time.
Oh yeah, you know those games are still good. Those classic games from the 8-bit game
Uh huh.
era, still good. Still very tight. Still very for the limitations they had, they were
Exactly.
really interesting.
Yep. Yeah, like something about double dribble. There's something
Oh yeah,
smooth, something very smooth about the way they run and shoot and
there was a
everything.
they did another game which was based in hockey, which is the same company.
Oh,
They did
yes.
double dribble, and it
Yeah.
was great. I loved
Yep.
it. I couldn't imagine myself playing hockey, but I loved that
I
hockey
remember.
game.
I remember that game. Yep. Yep. What was it called?
Uh, what was it called? It was called Blades of Steel or something like
Oh,
that.
yes. Blades of Steel.
There we
Yes.
go. I remember because it was one of the few sports games I owned, including
Okay.
double dribble.
Yeah. Yeah, that was incredible. That was incredible. And Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which they changed recently. They came out with a new version.
Hmm.
I think for the Wii,
Okay.
and the Wii's version was called something else now. But it's basically Punch Out, but it's something newer, some newer boxer.
Okay. We were talking about, the difference in music nowadays and back in the 90s. Back
Right.
in the 90s, you didn't really have to dig for dope hip hop. A
No.
lot of it landed on the radio.
Yes.
And then by the time things got like very commercialized, and by the time P. Diddy kind of,
Took over.
took over and did the samples that weren't as creative and just kind of jacked the entire hook for the song. By the mid to late 90s, you had to start buying albums or checking out college radio
Yes.
or just digging on the underground to find good music. So it's like if you don't know, you don't really know. Yeah, things changed. There was like that sweet era where it's like all the great hip hop was right there.
And I also like a type of music. I guess this is going to show my age, but I like a type of music called trip hop or the Bristol sound,
Yeah,
which is like Portishead,
Portishead. Yep,
um,
that's the first. Yeah,
Thievery
Portishead.
Corporation.
Yeah, Portishead was like 95.
Yeah, I love those. I love those.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of the big Bristol group that
and then there's
that
British
did.
trip hop as well.
Yeah. What was their name? They did Teardrop, Massive Assault,
Massive Attack.
Massive Attack. There we go.
And that's a British group, right?
Yeah, they're from Bristol too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, oh wait, are you saying? Oh, Portishead was also from Bristol?
No, Portishead was from Portishead, which is a tiny town in the north of England.
Oh, okay.
But they did amazing music. Even their third album, which wasn't well received, is still light years ahead of what music was at.
Yep. Yeah. Do you remember the Streets? Do you remember when the Streets came out? Did you ever hear that?
No. Where are they from?
They're England. I can't tell you what part of
Right.
England. But their music came out later than Portishead. Their music came out more like early to mid 2000s, maybe around 2003ish, 4ish. And the Streets has an album. I think it's just one guy. It's a white guy, and the name of the album is Original Pirate Material. and it's a dope album, and it's a sound that I had never heard before, and it's definitely like, okay, you're like, this is like some
This
grimy
is on top of it. Yeah.
British hip hop, but unfortunately, his other albums weren't.
Not quite up to snuff.
No, not at all. The sound changed, but you're
Mm.
listening to it, and it's almost got a touch of spoken word kind of flavor to it, but he's
Oh,
still
I like
rapping.
that. Yeah.
But he's still rapping to the beat, and it's just like it was a different vibe. I was like, this is great. Um, all of these memories bring me back to Buffalo when I was still buying CDs, and I was still
Me too.
going into music stores, including local music stores in Buffalo, and I was going through the bargain bin, and
Yeah.
like I found some stuff. What's the other guy in the Smiths?
You're not talking about well, what's his name?
The other main guy,
Yeah, I can't remember his name now. My brain is out of it.
Johnny Marr.
Yeah, Johnny Marr.
Johnny Marr.
I
I found like a great Johnny Marr album on Bargain and the bargain bin. I used to find a lot of great stuff like in the bargain section.
So
there.
did I. I was a fiend for the bargain bin.
Yeah, it was like a high. It was like a high going in there
And getting something
music.
awesome for almost nothing. That was great.
Yeah. Yep. I remember one time I found, and I, kicked myself for losing it, but I found this really great Peter Tosh album at like a garage sale.
Oh, wow.
It was dirt cheap. And it was like, I think it was either cassette or, no, it must have been CD. Yeah, it must have been CD, but it was a dirt cheap album, and it was great.
So what happened to Joey when you messaged him back?
Oh, he said he'd be on in a while.
Okay.
Just, yeah. That's just what a while means. So, yeah, he had said be in about 15 minutes, going to take a quick shower.
Okay.
So.
And Ish? No word from Ish?
Ish is, Ish at 8:27 said, I just need a bit.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
So, yeah. So the great thing about this is there's only two of us, so there's no time. There's no time limitation.
Oh, great! Yeah, I noticed that we were talking for a bit, and I didn't see the warning pop up.
Yep. So no time limitation. So I got to figure out how to put the. I got to figure out how to edit the videos because Ish had me do a rendition of Iko Iko, the old.
Oh yeah.
Marlon song. So I did a piece of that, and he wants me to like use that as the intro to our videos.
That's cool.
I just don't know how to do that. How to drop that in to the beginning of another.
I am unfortunately not the technological person in our group. I'm mostly the social guy.
Okay, I'll figure it out. It's been a journey, kind of figuring out how to do different editing and stuff. Sure. Right now my limitation is I'm trying to find out how much I can do for free. There was one program I was using, it was cool. I'm like, oh great. And then I had done this editing, and then I hit export, and it's like, oh, now we want you to pay for that. And it's like, oh
no.
And it's like,
well, sometimes I will say sometimes it is good to have paid material for that. I mean, I'm not trying to influence you. I'm just saying that it's worth the money for sure.
No, and I'm definitely willing to do it. I just want to know how far I can go without paying first. Because some folks were telling me there's a completely free program called CNET where you can use, but I wasn't able to figure out how to access it. So we'll see. Like the other day, I was able to take a snippet of a video and upload that. So instead of like a whole long video, I was able to take any snippet that I want. But I just don't know how to take snippets and put them, together, or take multiple snippets and create one video out of it. The only thing I know how to do through YouTube is to like cut parts out and leave what I want.
So okay, well that's workable.
Yeah, that's good too. So we'll see.
I noticed that our thing the other day already got a few hits on it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, which one Which one? Do
Well,
you know
the
what it was
one,
titled?
well, the one that was most popular was the one that this guy recently, this journalist that died. I forget his name.
Oh, that one, Michael Brooks.
Michael Brooks, and that
Yeah,
was
that one's
popular.
got over 111 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ours has like 5 or 6 every video
Yep.
that we did the other day, which I don't
Yep.
mind. Some people
Yeah.
went down like down thing, and I'm like, oh man, oh well.
Yeah. Well, that's Ish saying, hey, give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, as long as you
Yeah,
give
yeah,
something. Some of them too. The way I promoted them was I shared them in groups, and so I think the Michael Brooks one also had the, first he's pretty popular, and second I
yes,
also I also tweeted it out, but third, I shared it with some groups that have like a lot of followers, and
right.
so I think sometimes that helps. But I think once we all start finding ways to share with as many people at once, we can multiply the viewership.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You're
Well,
you're 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 not at a bad start. You're about half of what super gamers, super geeks is at.
oh, cool. Cool.
So if we share, we might be able to cross promote ourselves, which that's what I want
Excellent.
for
Yeah.
both of us.
Yeah. I found, since Michael Brooks was political, sharing in Bernie Sanders, meme, whatever, was a good one to get a few
Right.
people looking at it.
Smart, smart.
Yeah. Yeah. I started watching your thing on Lower Decks, which was cool.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I
yeah.
fell asleep halfway through it, and the funny thing is that they kicked me out because I didn't see the lower decks yet. Because
Oh, that's why you weren't on it.
that was on it, but I'm on it for the rest of the show, like the
Oh,
rest of
yeah.
our
Episodes.
episodes. Yeah,
Yeah.
some
Okay.
of them are more lively than others. We're
Hmm.
trying to get like a more concise schedule, so that
Hmm.
way we don't have too many topics and they sort of bleed into each other.
Sure. Sure.
But how we do it is that we review the main show first, whether it be Picard, Discovery, or now Lower Decks,
Hmm.
and then we'll go into like news of the day. Trump shutting down TikTok, um, entertainment news. Who's
Hmm.
going where? Is it big
Okay.
news? Is it just garbage? There's
Hmm.
also a thing called Axonar, which they're big on. The Axonar is a fan film thing that went awry, and the guy has
Yeah, I saw
basically,
that on the page.
yeah, he's basically taken the money and run, and he's still
Okay.
trying to fleece people out of money. So
Wow.
one of the guy who runs our group actually runs a large, I wouldn't say it's a critical group. It's called Axomonitor, and it's really popular. And so we do a little segment every time about his messing up and trying to get more people that are famous in the Star Trek world to
Hmm.
come on work with him, but he
Yeah.
has such a bad reputation already that it never happens.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that they said something about. I saw that they had mentioned something about the Orville being
Yes,
canceled or something.
yes,
Or
that was the news, but we don't know if it's true or not because
okay.
it's not officially
Okay.
confirmed.
I really like all the different Star Trek iterations there are. I like the
I do too.
Orville. I like Discovery. Then there's another comedic one besides the Lower Decks that just came out recently, like earlier this
Hmm.
year. It's another live action one. I don't remember what it's called, but it's
I'm trying
another.
to remember.
It's a Star Trek like show.
Star Trek Light Show
Not
comedy.
not actually Star Trek, but yeah, it's a comedy. It was interesting. It was funny. I watched like an episode or so.
Good.
So it's interesting that been this resurgence of you
Star
know
Trek,
yeah,
and
Star Trek and Star
it's
Trek.
because the geek culture is now popular, Flav. So
Yeah,
what we used to be in the shadows,
right.
hiding out in comic book stores and whatever, and now everybody wants our attention. They want to know what we're watching, what we're reading, what we're wearing, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, it's also I think it also is attributed to just the strength of the writing and the culture of Star Trek specifically. You
Absolutely.
know, and it's such an expanded universe, and there's people are willing to go.
And we're lucky, to be honest, we're lucky we got the talent we did for basically a silly sci-fi show. That they never considered, the Emmys would never consider Star Trek a serious show. Now I think they're gonna do something about Picard, because Picard, he's an Oscar nominated and winner,
Right.
Patrick Stewart, Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. What'd you think about Picard?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Look, it's a story about immigrants, kind of trying to find their way in the world, and sometimes dangerously so. So I quite like Picard. Some people didn't like it because there's a lot of yelling at Picard, and they didn't like the disrespect. But I told people it's a different world than what you're used to.
And that's it's a different world for Picard, right?
Yes.
He's not the captain that he once was, so
No.
he doesn't get the same respect. It's like all older folks probably feel that way when they're taken out of their element.
And that's what I said too, is that it's going to be a story about age as much as anything else, and about how people treat people that are older.
Yeah.
And I was right, because as they go along in the series, obviously you can tell. I'm not going to spoil it for the viewers, but it goes on and on about age and experience and wisdom and things like that. And how
production was surprisingly good too.
Oh, it was excellent. It was excellent.
Yeah.
It's a different animal than, say, your regular Star Trek show with the guys in the uniforms and flying places and stopping aliens from blowing up planets.
Yeah.
It's different. It's just a different show. Its goals are different.
Yeah. I wonder if my fantasy about the black planet, Lando Calrissian from the Black Planet, would piss off Ish, because I know he's got strong feelings about certain things. But I have this idea about building this universe around Lando Calrissian, where he comes from a black planet. Right?
Okay.
Because we don't know anything about his planet, and I feel like it would just be an opportunity to have another black movie. We had Black Panther, which was this great,
my mother's favorite Marvel movie.
Yeah, this great nation, and they're doing so well. Imagine Lando comes from an entire planet that's like a black planet.
Well, I don't know if you recognize this name, but do you know the name Octavia Butler?
Yeah. Yep.
Octavia was a grand old dame of for the viewers, was a grand old dame of sci-fi, but she was unusual because she was a black lesbian at a time when those things were not. There was no parades for her. But I met her right before she died, a year before she died, and she couldn't have been a nicer person. Couldn't have been nicer, and so giving.
How long ago was it that she died?
It was in the 2000s.
Okay.
It was in the 2000s. I can't remember what day. I'm gonna look it up.
And what's her big?
Wild Seed. Wild Seed. I would definitely pick up Wild Seed. Her hallmark is that she made sci-fi and fantasy novels with marginalized characters.
Right.
And instead of the white guy saving everything, it was somebody black or somebody Hispanic or somebody, and the stories were very human, which would in sci-fi and fantasy, they tend to be overshadowed by the events.
Yes, and some of the writing tends to be very cold.
Very cold.
And some of it's the descriptions can be a lot, you're describing everything, but I'm not really feeling anything. So I can feel that. I like them.
That's a legacy of Tolkien himself, J.R.R. Tolkien, because Tolkien was exasperant in just describing every single thing forever and ever and ever. He went for 3 pages on what's very famously called the Prancing Pony, which was the bard that Strider or Aragon met Bilbo. I mean, not Bilbo. Yes, Bilbo. And company, I should say. And the Hobbit company. Let me get a drink myself. Unfortunately, it's not healthy. I'm not getting paid to promote it. But if anybody has an idea, look, natural. Yeah. I can't fault celebrities for cashing in on their fame, because who wouldn't really at that point?
Right.
You could say, "Oh, I don't want to sell out. I don't want to sell out." Listen, until you get those millions of dollars in your bank account, you may not. You may feel differently at that point.
Well, the other thing about celebrities is sometimes it's a long time between movies.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
people don't really get that. Like,
Especially now in COVID land.
yeah, and also, I had this argument with Ish, which I won, by the way. But don't tell him. Don't tell
I'm
him.
not going
I
to
don't
tell
want
him.
to. I don't want to rehash it. But most people don't realize that only the top earners in movie land are making a ton of money.
Yes.
Other people are practically like you and I.
Yes. They're just
They're
working
really,
it out.
and I figured it out because that was my hypothesis. Was like, you take the average, if you
Actor or
actor,
actress.
yeah, and especially if you just take off the top ones, yeah, the numbers that we saw were like, oh, this isn't
Because
a lot at all.
there's so many actors and actresses in Hollywood and
Mhm.
elsewhere. Vancouver is very popular for actors and actresses.
Atlanta.
Atlanta and Hotlanta is doing. I love Hotlanta, by the way. It is
Yeah.
a booming city.
Mm.
That city is well run, and I respect that mayor 100%.
Yep.
She has a hard fight on her hands, though. That governor is a piece of shit.
Is he ever? I mean, he stole the election on
From
some
Abrams.
1960s type shit.
Yeah, Stacey Abrams was impressive. I actually wanted her for not to get into politics again real quick,
Yeah.
but as you can tell, it's my favorite subject, more or less.
I was going to say you probably love her as a centrist.
She is a centrist, and I enjoy her because I'm a centrist with left leanings, like in education and healthcare. I'm definitely left. There's no doubt about it.
Sure.
Because I believe in producing the best people, best citizens we can do, and I think that we can do so much better.
Yeah.
To keep it short.
No, she's she's one of the hopefuls, isn't she?
She's one of the 10 that he's looking at, but he's looking at a bunch of women. So I would say that she's. I would say that the two front runners are Camilla and Susan Rice.
Okay.
But and out of those two, I like Susan Rice, and you could then put Camilla as your AG, even though a lot of people would hate that. Right. I think that she would be a strong AG and go after people.
Yeah, and I think the left. I don't know if the left is any happier with Rice than Camilla. I know Rice has some stuff with the Rwandan genocide and.
Yes. They call her Drone Rice.
Okay, and she was out of the Obama administration, right?
She was out of the Obama administration, but she has all the credentials to be the vice president. I mean,
now if they're saying Rwandan genocide, does that mean she was also in the Clinton administration?
I think she was in the Clinton administration as well.
Okay. Yeah.
They tend to bounce around these back figures in politics.
Sure.
They're not elected, but they tend to be very useful to elected people.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, we are. I mean, politics is my wheelhouse, and not being able to talk politics with the fam is something me and my brother and sister know is a reality, and we don't want those arguments. And we find ourselves in a strange place where a black family has heads of household that are not on the side that you would think that they would be on.
I'm not surprised.
It puts it. I mean, statistically speaking, it puts us in a minority.
Yeah,
for sure. But means we don't. We try not to talk about certain things because it doesn't end up well for anyone. But
I understand. My dad is very conservative compared to me, anyway.
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
And you don't want to argue with my dad. He's like a rock.
Yeah, my dad is very similar. But I was saying we live in strange times where, like, if a fiction writer were writing this stuff, you'd be like, okay, you'd be like, all right, this is really over the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you going with this stuff? Man, I didn't get through the whole first episode of Immigration Nation, but
It was rough.
it was rough. I don't think you'd want to watch it with your mother.
No, no, no. I have to. On documentaries and stuff, I usually watch that alone because my mother is very sensitive, very sweet woman, very
Yeah,
sensitive, and she takes things very personally. And if I showed her a thing about immigration and people being treated like garbage that were immigrating, she would literally cry, and I can't have that. I can't. I have to protect my mom.
yeah. Well, you might shed a few yourself.
Yeah, I
Watching
realize
this.
that. I realize that.
Um, I mean, it's. I can see why ICE does not want this thing out. You
Sure.
know, in the first few minutes, I'm like, okay, all of my fears have been quelled. This is not a propaganda piece for ICE.
Right.
It is not by any means a propaganda piece for ICE, which, I was afraid of this whole 50-50 thing. Like, hey, here's one perspective,
Yeah, yeah.
the other. It is not that. It is not that. It's like, I mean, you get to see how these guys get to lie. They get to say that they're the police. They have a shirt that says police and then ICE under it. The woman's asking for uh, um,
Warrants.
a warrant, and the guy's bullshitting her, saying, "Well, I don't have to produce that." And then
Unbelievable.
and then he's kind of changing his story, like, "But I have it on me, but I don't have to show you." And it's just like, come on, you know?
They're not good people. I keep saying this is the stormtroopers of our era,
Oh, for sure. This is
and
what it looks like.
I'm not a very controversial person, but ICE gets under my hackles to be bad
Yeah.
time.
No, seriously. And it's like, oh man. And it's just like rhetoric like, yeah, I got into this work to uphold the law.
Yeah,
And it's like, oh,
stupid
really?
shit.
That's why you got into this work? Like, not to help people or not to protect people, but to uphold the law, no matter what the law is, or no matter how immoral the law is, just to uphold it.
Some people I've found especially in positions of power, want power to abuse others. I hate to say it like that because I'm a Christian man and I don't really believe in evil
Right.
as a supernatural concept.
Right.
I believe it's completely human based,
Oh,
and
sure.
that's what makes it dangerous.
Sure. Sure.
But I do believe in an evil state. I do believe in a state of evil, which is not very popular modern way. But these people kind of exemplify what I believe in. Because there's people out there that simply want to bully others and
Yeah.
want to feel big about themselves, and this is ICE. This is ICE in a heartbeat. The stories I've heard make my skin crawl from other immigrants and things like that.
I
Um,
wonder if are there anti-ICE groups that kind of like go around and help folks. Well,
yes,
I know that there are groups that tell people that pass out pamphlets and let people know their rights.
yes,
And
there is, and there's also groups that like go out into the deserts, right, separating our two countries,
mhm.
and like try and save people, give them water, food,
And
shelter.
those people have been deemed terrorists, right?
Terrorists, unbelievable. I don't know how much terrorists you can have with a Debbie snack cake and some water, but apparently our administration, in its infinite wisdom, has deemed these peaceful civil protesters uh, terrorists because they don't know their solution to everything is to hit it with a hammer. You remember
Yeah,
that saying about the nails and the hammer? Once you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, what they doubled the amount of ICE folks that we had. So now there's like 10,000
And
ICE
I don't
employees.
let Obama off the hook. Obama was a big ICE supporter
Yeah,
and deported more people than even Trump has.
yeah. Well, imagine that Obama was a big ICE supporter, and now we have double the amount of
Yes.
ICE agents that we had under Obama. So imagine where that number is going.
Yeah,
You know?
it's basically like a private army apparently, because the
Yeah.
guys that were stomping around in Portland were either from Border Patrol or they were from ICE themselves.
Okay.
Or they were mercenaries. They were like Eric Prince's boys from Blackwater, which he's renamed to something else now.
Oh, Blackwater was renamed years ago to
Yeah.
something that sounds patriotic.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more patriotic than selling your services to at exorbitant prices to the place that you call home.
Yeah. How much do our troops pay for a meal?
Oh, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
It's extortion, and they've been allowed to do it because it's politically expedient to use mercenaries in places. But I'm actually while I'm a big military supporter, I do not support mercenaries because they are the trouble in every spot that we've been in, and there's been shootings of regular people or rapes or attacks. I'm almost sure that most of them have been mercenaries, like Blackwater and KBR and stuff like KBR is Halliburton's security group.
Yeah. Dick Cheney made a lot of money.
He made a lot of money. Even though he hates Trump, I'm still not putting him. I'm not getting him off the hook. He was a complete jerk.
No, I mean this whole rewriting history and painting Bush in a positive light, it's all nonsense. It really
Bush is. I met Bush, and I'll tell you this: he's a nice man. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Once you meet him, he's a nice man. But he allowed such evil to happen under his watch. It's hard for me to stomach it.
But isn't that? I mean, it's the devil with the smile.
Yeah,
though, right?
exactly.
Like
exactly.
you could be nice and allow havoc.
But I will say that Bush did two things that I will always applaud him for. He did an AIDS package, which to Africa, which was simply to save the amount of people that was necessary. Hey Joey, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's good, Joey?
Flave, hey, glad to see you guys have made each other's acquaintance.
Yeah, this is
I love Flav. I love Flav.
What is this? Your third time on with us, Raul?
Yeah. We've been kicking it out this weekend.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about hip hop and music, Joey. I'm sorry you missed it.
Oh, too bad. Yeah, I wish I had made it in the other night. Always down for that.
Word.
But right now we're talking about the whitewashing of Bush and his legacy guys.
Yeah, I'm always down to discuss that.
We've talked about that a few
topic.
times. Yep, talked about that a few times. But
there are. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say I get that. I get that. People say that about Bush, that when you meet him, he's a nice guy, and you see him in Mrs. Obama palling
around, which is nice. It's nice. I won't discount it for what it is, because you can tell they're at least human beings. I don't think that Trump is a human being like that. If you look at Trump and everybody around him, they're always miserable. Do you think that's a great leader? I think that's a terrible leader.
Well, I think Bush was a terrible leader as well.
Well, I'm not saying he was any better. Yeah. I'm just saying that under Trump, the people around him that are supposed to support him are in a terrible state of mind.
I guess what we'll agree on is, if I'm in a bar by myself and I'm really bored and Bush walks in, we might,
have a beer.
We might be able to have a beer and have a good time and stomach each other's presence, regardless of.
I will say he's a better artist than I would have given him credit for.
Actually, that's true. That is actually true. Yep.
I would have never thought that president would have gone off and did painting to that level. It just never occurred to me.
And whoever his speechwriters are now,
they're the same guys that do Lincoln Project, by the way.
What, his speechwriters?
Yeah, those guys are mostly from his administration.
From Bush's administration?
Yes.
Well, he's reading at a higher level than he was when he was president.
I think he was affected by drugs, guys. I mean, that's my I think that he long-term abuse of drugs.
Okay. And you think he's finally like?
I think he's finally gotten help and kind of leveled out, because the presidency, even if you're a fuckhead, is a stressful job. And it takes a lot out of you. Look at Obama. He had hair your color, and now he has hair my color.
Yeah. No, that's true. In just a few years. No, even after the first 4 years, he was already.
He was graying for hardcore. Yeah.
Of course, it could also be the age, but yeah, they say they age quicker.
They do age quicker. Look at Clinton. He went in with like brownish, some strains of gray, and he came out white, pure white.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and with Reagan, I mean, maybe it triggered his Alzheimer's.
Oh,
I definitely think Reagan was sick by the time I think George Bush Sr. was running the show by 1984.
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, like even in 1984, I've heard people say at one point, I mean, it's kind of amazing that Reagan won in such a massive landslide, because in like the first debate against Mondale, he looked kind of doddered. I mean, maybe they forgot to give him his medicine that night or something, because it definitely wouldn't surprise me if he was already in decline at that point.
But how many, like, how much drugs do we think? Bush looks like
we lost Joey.
Got disappeared. Yeah, you can't talk about Reagan like that, man.
Joey got canceled by Zoom.
Joey got disappeared. Yeah, how much drugs do you think Trump is on?
I think they were significant. He was a party boy all his life. So
no, I'm saying Trump.
Oh, Trump? I don't think Trump is a drug addict. I think he's just showing his age. He's incredibly old, and I think he's had heart attacks and strokes while in office. So I don't honestly think it's drugs. I do think it's this recurring heart problem or heart murmurs or mini strokes that is taking him to Walter Reed in the middle of the night.
Yeah, he surely can't put a sentence together.
No, sure. When he said, you know what convinced me of this, Flav? When he said car, TV, woman, man, that sort of.
He said that?
Yeah, he said this rambling, like it's like things he was looking at in TV.
And this was during an interview, or?
Yes, this was during an interview. Remember this, Joey, when he said car, TV, what man, woman, something like that.
Yeah, I think I do remember hearing about that. Yeah.
So what I was telling Flav was I think that he's had mini strokes or full on cardiac arrest while doing it, but because he's definitely damaged. There's something going on that they're covering up.
Yeah, it would not surprise me at all. I mean, yeah, it's wait, who are we talking about now?
We're talking about Trump.
Trump. Oh yeah, no, definitely. He seems to not be all there. I mean, not that he ever was, but like Trump was always an asshole and he was never the brightest bulb, but I have seen old interviews of him from like the 90s where he was a bit more lucid, a bit more articulate.
A lot more. The sentences were at least coherent. I mean, he was at least, speaking at a 6th grade level, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely.
And the thing about Trump is that his father paid for one of the best educations you can have in business, which is the Wharton School of Business. Okay. It's literally the Harvard of business. And so I'm not saying that Harvard is a great business school as well, but the reputation is sterling. They actually told him to stop mentioning their name because it was giving them negative press. It was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I bet.
So I posted something on Facebook today that was from December. The creators of Thanos were pissed that Trump had this commercial where he was comparing himself to Thanos and doing that with his fingers.
Yeah, it's it's sociopathic. Yeah, it's sociopathic.
And then months later, 150,000 dead citizens,
And then they wonder, wow, he doesn't seem to care. No, he doesn't give a shit. He does not.
I
That's
wish Ish
incredible.
was here to weigh in on the Trump as Thanos comparison.
Yeah, me too. Me too. He
I
should
actually
be.
like Thanos. I don't like Trump, so that's the difference. I don't like Thanos. I like Thanos as a villain. I should say that he just makes a compelling villain.
Yeah.
You know, with his dedication to his cause, which I like. I like those type of villains.
So, do you like
My
the?
favorite is Magneto.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you like the Black Panther villain as well?
I do like it. I do like, but the new Black Panther villain in the movie is going to be Namor, the Submariner.
Uh,
It's called Two Kings, the movie.
who do you think wins in a fighting contest, Namor or Aquaman?
You know, funny. I actually wrote a piece on that.
Oh, okay.
I'll send it to you
Oh, no
afterwards. I'll
kidding.
link it.
Wow.
Yeah, I wrote it. It's old now, but people still reference it and go back to it. It's the
Cool.
number one. When you look up Namor versus Submariner, it's
Yeah.
the number one article that pops up on Google.
Okay, you mean Namor versus Aquaman?
Aquaman. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, cool.
I really like Namor though, because he's a villain and people forget that.
Oh, okay. And there's something cooler about the name Submariner than
Yes.
Aquaman.
Well, it's the use of orange flagrant in poor Aquaman's outfits.
And I
It's
also
just a garish.
I like the literary allusion too, like Submariner just makes you think of like Rime of the Ancient Mariner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good catch, Joey.
Thanks.
Oh, Joey, I was gonna say, do you have a place for me? Like a that I could crash.
No, not at the moment, but hopefully, I mean, hopefully soon. Like I'm still looking for a place to stay. I mean, I'm looking for my own place right now, but I'm like at my parents' right now in upstate.
Oh, okay.
Area. Are you going to be in the city soon?
No, I was gonna once the COVID virus kind of relaxes, I'm planning on taking a few trips because if I don't get out of this town, I'm gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, I know the feeling. And hey, by that time though, I may have a place. Actually, I would
Sweet.
say there's a pretty good chance. So yeah, once I have my own place, you're absolutely welcome to stay.
Sweet. Do you have animals, by the way?
Uh, I have a dog up here. My parents have a dog, but I don't have my own. Although that's something that is up under consideration too.
Dogs are great. Cats are wonderful too. I have nothing against cats, but I'm a dog person completely, as you can tell
Oh, same.
from my pictures.
Yeah, I love dogs. I had one as a kid, and now I love this one thing I love about being up here at my parents' place is having a dog again. Because yeah, Buddy's a great puppy.
What is Buddy? What is Buddy?
He's like a Catahoula dog, and I think
Oh.
yeah, like half. He's a mutt. He has a little of something else in him, but I'm not sure what. But he's a really fun, just a really fun ball of energy. I mean, he's 3 years old now, but he still has as much.
Still young. Still very young.
True. Yeah. Very, very much so. What do you have a dog right now?
I have two. Let me show you in the video. They're extremely cute though. I warn you. This is my dog Penny, and she's the princess of the house, and she's a rescue from a kill shelter, and so if they were gonna kill her, and I realized they were gonna kill her because she was black, because black animals have a harder time getting adopted apparently.
Oh, jeez.
So
Wow.
she was super friendly, and she was this little ball like this big, and she's still a little. She's a bigger ball, but she's about the same friendliness. She's very shy around people, and other animals, but she's super sweet, super sweet. And then my boy, it looks like a pit bull. I'll show you right now. But he's sleeping, so you know he's also very cute. He's a devil though.
Oh, he's adorable. So
Yeah,
look,
he's a half Chihuahua, half poodle, but that came out to look like he's got the muscle structure of a small pit bull. He's super
yeah, I
strong.
can see that. Yeah, I love the vest. It looks like he's going water skiing or something.
Yeah, my mom loves to put on these clothing, these shirts on my dogs, and I'm like, I don't know why. It's just a thing. And so they almost every picture we have of them is with these shirts. They are pretty hilarious.
They are funny. Yeah, like I just picture him just riding the waves with that thing.
Oh yeah, I although he's scared of water, so that may not
Mhm.
happen.
Right.
Oh, and
Yeah.
and of course, can you name this place, Joey?
Uh. I'm off the top of my head. No, actually, unfortunately, I've seen that in like a lot of memes, and I'm pretty sure I've seen the movie. Like if I thought about it for a minute, but was that from Lord of the Rings? Actually.
No, no, but no, but close in terms of scale, in terms of epicness. It's from Black Panther. It's Wakanda.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that is Wakanda. I do recognize that now. Yeah, that was I yeah, damn. Yeah,
Isn't it
I
great? Isn't it great? The set creator is like this mad genius who puts together stuff. And I'm like I love the architecture of Wakanda. I love it. I love Wakanda already. It's Marvel's only utopia. Everything else,
yeah,
every other land that they've created is kind of a dystopia, like Lavatlia or
yeah.
Genosha.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, Wakanda is yeah, I saw that movie in theaters. It was really great movie. And yeah, that city does look amazing because it looks like the architecture just sort of developed in like a different sort of
Organically, right?
yeah, it's like really just like just really original like at every level. It's really fascinating.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did we
Hmm.
lose Flav? What happened here, Flav?
I don't know. I guess he just got up for a
You
minute.
probably had to use the restroom. We've been at
Probably,
this
yeah.
for a while.
He'll
So
be
yeah,
he'll be right back.
yeah. We talked about a lot of hip hop, a little bit of politics, a little bit of geeky stuff like Star Trek, that sort of stuff. Um, but anything that you want to talk about, man, is cool with me.
All right, cool. Yeah. Hmm. I don't know right now. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything. But oh yeah. Like I just posted about this on Facebook. Um, there's this scandal. This guy who's running for Congress in Massachusetts, and he was like 31 years old, and he's running against a conservative Democrat named Richard Neal, and he's in his early 30s, and I believe was a college professor, but dated a student who was 10
Ooh,
years younger than him, but not his student, but just
right.
at possibly the same school. I can't remember off the top of my head. And like a lot of people were just being very moralistic about it, and just like accusing him of all sorts of things and accusing him of grooming or what have you. And it just seems really ridiculous to me, and it seems really moralistic that they could decide that's more important than supporting a candidate like an actual solid progressive candidate, that they're just going to morally judge him for dating another consenting adult. Like, I mean, this is the kind of
That's the whole thing I was going to mention. That at 21, you're way past your adult age.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I really think the left has gotten way too puritanical in this regard. I posted about it on Facebook, and I left a link in the comments. Basically, it's one of those things where like I'm not on Twitter. I'm actually locked out of Twitter right now, but it's been a whole controversy for the past several days. Like I've heard vague references to it, and it's one of those things where like you just hear just secondary references to something on Twitter, and you don't know what's going on at first.
well, Twitter is murky to me. I've never liked it as a format for
Really?
discussing anything because it's
Yeah,
too short. It's too short. and people get misunderstood when they
I think
say
they
something.
doubled it from 140 to 280.
240, 280. Okay.
280.
Yeah.
What are you eating, Flav?
Some celery and peanut butter. I've got some
Sounds good
carrots
to me.
also. Yep.
So yeah, I just think that's ridiculous, and I think that it's just weird. It's just weird in some ways how the left has become so puritanical at times. It just feels like the mirror image of the religious right in some ways.
Would you say this? Would you say there was some good candidate or something? What were you saying about a teacher and a student and a candidate?
He's I forget his name off the top of my head, but he's running for Congress in Massachusetts against Richard Neal, who's a very pro-corporate Democrat, and he supports universal health care, supports the Green New Deal. But it came out at one point that he, when he was like a 31-year-old adjunct professor, he dated a 21-year-old student, and like, and now everyone is eager to rescind the endorsement just because the student like claimed that, like, I don't know, claimed that he had felt awkward at one point when he found out that the guy was a professor, and like everyone was just getting up in arms and using the rhetoric of survivors, like equating the feeling of awkwardness after a bad date to somehow being sexually assaulted, which is just really gross and insulting to actual survivors.
And you're saying the student felt awkward?
Yeah, he vaguely felt awkward. I think, Raul, you wanted to jump in for a sec?
No, I was saying that's me. I'm a survivor of youth abuse, and and so I don't really discuss this too publicly because people take it the wrong way. But
I understand.
the truth is that's insulting to people like me that have been assaulted in their youth.
Yeah, and a friend of mine just commented the exact same thing. She said she just found it totally insulting that anybody would just be so loose with throwing around terms like survivor, then how just because she experienced it herself, and how much it really kind of cheapens it.
Yes. And I will say to also, I almost said también, which means also in Spanish. As you get older, I'm reverting to Spanish, Joey. So I don't know if that's normal for everybody that speaks 2 or 3 languages, but it just happens. Like I'm becoming more emotional, and that then it comes out. But I'll say that we have a funny double standard. If a person can defend a nation with a rifle and kill people, I think that they can do whatever the hell they want. Drink, whatever adult thing that we put the limit on, that's what it should be.
Yeah, exactly. And it's totally ridiculous to me when I see, because I think we have moved too far in that direction. I mean, obviously, the drinking age has been 21 for a while. They just raised the smoking age to 21 also, and they try to justify it on the grounds that your brain isn't fully developed until your mid to late 20s. But it's like, give me a
that's
break.
Demeaning as well.
Yeah, it is demeaning. I mean, so then why don't we just make 25 the age of adulthood? I mean, the idea that you're old enough to work, join the military and also work a minimum wage job where you're just treated like shit for 60 hours a week and exploited. I mean, maybe your brain isn't ready for that either. It's completely warped that we have this weird sort of conflux. That might not be an actual word, but we have this weird sort of thing in our society where you have you have public health, these sort of public health wonks that think they can make these judgment calls about who is and isn't old enough to do what at a particular age, yet they're plugging into a capitalist society where we're so easily exploited. And that's what infuriated me so much about someone like Michael Bloomberg in particular, because like I do know some socialists who are paternalistic and who I actually tend to disagree with and would take sort of the same puritanical stand on wanting to restrict cigarettes, wanting to restrict alcohol. And I disagree, but at least they're consistent. At least they also support universal health care and guaranteeing everyone has a decent standard of living. Michael Bloomberg could not give a shit if you end up out on the street and if your health benefits are cut, and he wanted to privatize Social Security, yet then at the same time tell you what to eat. I mean, it's basically just guaranteeing that people will just be healthy enough to have a job serving the rich until like for 30 years. I mean that particular form of nanny statism combined with free market capitalism is just like the worst sort of combination of political views.
I would only hesitate to call it free market capitalism because it's not really. When we start putting government's big foot on it, and I'm not saying the government doesn't have a role in business, but using the government like a cudgel to smack people around when they do you personally don't like, then I always wonder about conservatives say that that's okay, but other things are not okay.
Yeah.
I've never understood that hypocrisy, and because it stands out pretty flagrantly.
Yeah, it's true, and there are different versions of it. Like obviously conservatives who talk a good game about freedom, libertarians, some right-wing libertarians who are perfectly fine with having a government small enough to fit inside a woman's uterus and just deport people because they maybe failed to fill out the right forms 20 years ago, and then they talk about small government. I mean, they're just massive hypocrites. And then liberals are hypocrites too for saying my body, my choice, yet at the same time wanting to tell you
how to run your business.
Yeah, and like, I'm okay with telling people how to run their business. I mean, not their personal lives. Like I'm just not okay with, telling people, that they can't smoke, or that we're gonna put a tax on soda or that kind of thing.
The thing about running businesses is that if you're an asshole, the market will react to you. Like if you're going to say, well, we're not going to serve gay people, we're not going to serve black people, we're not going to serve people of color, we're not going to serve Jews, we're not going to serve this or that or that. Now things are different in that you can't keep those type of things secret, and it would be plastered all over social media, and you would suffer from your stance.
I know people that depends on where you do business, though.
That's true. That's exactly true.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the current context, that's true. But obviously, I mean, there was a time when the government needed to intervene in terms of the Civil Rights Act, because, like in the South, if a business owner in 1960, a business owner decided, I'm going to open a business that serves to black people, then they would have been the one to get boycotted.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. But it's time conceptual. So some things can actually move ahead, and we can say we've made progress. This is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Flav, is that in this time of very hyper conservatism, we've made amazing progress on the progressive side.
Yeah.
With certain issues, not all issues, but as far as we can go and as far as we've been pushed, I think BLM has done a wonderful job of waking up the nation to different issues, including issues around black people and issues not around black people, issues just around the progressive message.
Sure. I mean, Eamon Bundy came out saying he's in support of BLM.
Yes, which I was stunned.
Yeah. What did you think about that,
It's consistent though, so I respect him.
I completely agree with Raul. Yeah, I respect him for his for his consistency. Like he also criticized ICE. I mean, he is an actual conservative who is consistently opposed to government tyranny, and that's refreshing to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So opportunity.
I'll be right back, guys.
Sure. Opportunity to build a real coalition now.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And it's you always got to be pragmatic in politics and find allies on any given issue. Like, I would gladly work with him on civil liberties, on opposing wars, just like I am okay with working with Joe Biden or a Democrat I don't like when there's common ground with them. I mean, like, that's the only way really in politics to achieve anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would find it odd for libertarians to be inside someone's uterus. That seems like that would be like the opposite of what they're supposed to be about. But I guess that would be like a right-wing libertarian.
Well, that's the result of conservative libertarian fusionism, which kind of goes back to the 90s, where like a lot of paleo-conservative Pat Buchanan types and some outright white supremacists really started to build alliances with libertarians opportunistically at that point, just because the extent of their opposition to government really just amounted to opposing welfare. But other than that, they were fine with a white ethno-state. So I feel like they sort of infiltrated libertarianism opportunistically, and we've kind of seen that to the present day. Like, there's been a lot of discourse about the libertarian to alt-right pipeline that the more recent incarnation of it started with the Ron Paul campaign. Like Richard Spencer started out as a Ron Paul conservative, and to this day, a lot of libertarians have proven themselves to be complete hypocrites who really just only care about free market capitalism on steroids, but don't care about anyone's rights, about freedom for anybody who doesn't look like them, or for anybody who has the wrong views. Like I've even seen libertarians defend the crackdown in Portland. I mean, self-described libertarians, and it's just mind-numbing hypocrisy. I mean, these are the types of people who will like post these fucked up like helicopter memes and say Pinochet did nothing wrong. I mean, they're really just deranged. They're really just deranged people, like just like libertarian fascists in a sense.
More fascist than libertarian at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the mirror image of, and the joking about throwing leftists in helicopters is, I guess, kind of the mirror image of tankies on the left who make gulag jokes and stuff.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I never considered that, but true.
Yeah.
We're about ready to run out of, so we gotta get ready for the switch over.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So something else I wanted to mention, because Raul was filling me in. I've been meaning to watch the last episode or so, where I don't know if I've ever met Damien, but like there was some controversy, I think, where he kind of got into some vaguely anti-Semitic stuff. I kind of wish I'd been here for that.
Well, he said something about the Rothschilds, but he didn't really expand. I mean, Damien talks in like 20-minute blocks, and he talks in like very metaphorical, poetic ways. So a lot of it gets by me. So I missed a lot of stuff. He may have been going in that direction. I may have missed it. Maybe you caught more than I did, Raul.
I think he did mention the Rothschilds. It kind of worried me a little bit because that's conspiracy talking for a guy who's so well spoken and what seemed to be logical. That's a logical fallacy. The Rothschilds and the conspiracy around them.
Yeah, and I mean, to be charitable, I want to say that I don't think that everybody who brings them up is anti-Semitic, but it does have an explicitly anti-Semitic origin. And I think a lot of times people just really aren't aware of that until it's pointed out. And I think that needs to be pointed out because really these are vague sort of conspiracy theories that sort of originate out of the far right fringes of the internet, and people who make claims about the Rothschilds are never able to substantiate them in any real way. I mean, there's absolutely no evidence that the Rothschilds really have any significant amount of power anymore. Really, global capitalism is the problem, and people who bring that kind of nonsense up just sort of distract from that fact and really just help to either wittingly or unwittingly advance some really gross bigotry.
Yep, absolutely. You're drinking more than I am.
Watch that. What
You're drinking more than I am.
Yeah. I always try to stay hydrated during these shows just to keep my
energy up.
Voice. What?
Yeah. Keep your energy up too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Flav is making me hungry though with his feast.
Peanut butter is really dangerous, man. It's I only go natural peanut butter. This is super chunky peanut butter, and it's just so good. It's hard to make
stop.
One of these last for more than a couple days.
Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes I feel like I could just eat just peanut butter right out of the jar. Also, it's like chunky peanut butter in particular.
It's very easy to do so.
Yeah.
When people ask where vegans get their protein from, this is one of the
peanut butter is a staple.
So it's like
a good source.
So like that's almost like your steak then. Like a vegan steak is just peanut butter.
A peanut butter steak. That sounds kind of good.
Yeah,
I guess if you bake it,
so strangely, it sounds like a winner.
Yeah.
If you bake it right, I'm sure it can be done.
I saw an interview with Jimmy Carter once where like someone just ran into him at an airport and was asking him about his favorite style of peanut butter, and I forget exactly what he said, but being a former peanut farmer, he had some very detailed thoughts about it. Like he was you could tell he was a real peanut connoisseur almost.
I wonder if there's peanut butter that we're not really getting, like maybe like Valencia peanut butter.
I understand.
I wonder if there's just a bunch of, like red peanut, like beer nut butter.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
That sounds delicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're probably somebody's already done it if it's a possibility. Because
exactly.
It sounds like a winner, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, Nut Butter Nation, or like, just every kind of nut butter you can think of.
Oh yeah.
With peanuts.
Super simple, but took over the nation's appetite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Supposedly invented by a black man. Peanut butter.
That's right. Yeah.
Which I can believe it. How much I love it.
Well, you're not alone, so it could have been invented by a Cuban at this point.
Yeah, man.
And it's fattening enough that our people would love it. So.
Well, my dad is from Ghana, and they make this incredible peanut butter stew.
Oh, yum.
I mean, traditionally, it's made with chicken and stuff, but of course you can make it with tofu or other things.
Sure.
Yeah, it can be done very well. It
That
can also
sounds
be
like-
done.
Do you ever go back to Ghana, Flav?
Well, so I mean, I was born in the Bronx, but I went to Ghana when I was 1 for
Okay.
about a year. But I finally got to go back earlier this year, my first time ever since
Oh,
I was
wow.
1.
How
Since I was
exciting.
1.
Did you
And,
track down family and everything?
I did. I got back in touch with my mother, who I hadn't seen since around 2007-ish or something.
Okay. Okay.
Because she had gone back to Ghana, and yeah, it was an incredible experience, and it was right before COVID hit. It was the perfect time, because if we had left just a little bit later, they might have told us we couldn't have gone.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And I went through so much, because I had nothing. I had no passport. I had to fix, documents that were not the way that they should. I had to go through a lot, and it was getting very stressful. And so I finally had what I needed. I paid the extra money to expedite the process, and
Sure.
just the fact that we got there before COVID hit was pretty
Yeah, it was
incredible.
the winner.
Yeah. it was
Oh,
a winner.
I meant to ask you. I remember. I think a couple months ago. I think when it was just you, me, and Ish Flame, you were talking about your time in Ghana, and I actually I don't know if this was you or someone else, because I had a couple conversations about this at the same time about Chinese colonialism in Africa, and how
we might
I
have
think it might have
spoken.
been you, where you said you saw evidence of it when you were there.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they're digging for diamonds, and they're making who knows how much money, ruining land and water for diamonds, and paying people a pittance for it. They pay the farmers whatever they pay them, and then they give the chiefs of the area a Mercedes or something like that, and then they go to town on the diamonds,
resources.
and then there's still dirt roads everywhere. And we're talking we're not talking about the kind of dirt roads you see in the U.S. Those are nice dirt roads that you can still drive on. We're talking about pits in the road and craters in the road, so